Humans had always been explorers. Even in their earliest days on Earth, they had climbed mountains, sailed stormy seas, and walked into deserts that seemed to stretch forever. Now, many light years from their home world, they had built a new colony on Orcs Prime, a planet that gleamed like a jewel in the darkness of space. Its surface was dotted with cobalt-blue oceans and sprawling silver forests, and beneath its mountains lay veins of rare minerals that promised power and progress. For humans, Orcs Prime was more than a settlement. It was a symbol of their endless drive to survive, adapt, and thrive wherever the stars might lead them. The colony's population was small but determined. Scientists, engineers, miners, and soldiers worked side by side, all united by a single goal: to make this new world theirs, while keeping its mysteries and dangers at bay. Towering buildings rose from the ground, their reflective surfaces blending with the planet's colors, and between them hummed transport lines that carried workers and supplies with quiet efficiency. Every morning, the colony came alive with the chatter of people who had left home far behind, but carried the same human spirit of curiosity and courage. Deep in the orbit above Orcs Prime, unknown to the humans, a fleet of alien ships appeared. The Xiphorians were an advanced race, known in whispers across distant star systems for their ruthless conquests. Their ships were dark and angular, bristling with weapons that had never failed to overpower the civilizations they had encountered. They moved with precision, scanning the planet below with sharp instruments that calculated every potential threat and weakness. The Xiphorians had noticed the humans, and in their arrogance, they believed that this new species would fall as easily as the others before them. The first Xiphorian ship descended quietly into the upper atmosphere, a silent shadow against the planet's vibrant sky. Humans noticed only small anomalies at first: flickers in communication lines, odd readings in the energy grid, and a sense that they were being observed. Captain Marcus Rains, a seasoned leader who had spent years in Earth's exploration fleets, was the first to raise the alarm. His instincts told him that something was wrong, but he knew better than to panic. Humans had always faced danger before, and it was their calm under pressure that often gave them the edge. Within hours, the Xiphorians made their presence known. A message, translated almost instantly by the colony's advanced AI, appeared on every screen. "Humans, we come to test your strength. Show resistance and you will face consequences. Submit and your survival may be spared." The message was cold, unyielding, and meant to intimidate, but humans did not respond with fear. Instead, they gathered, discussing strategies and preparing for the worst. Their unity, as always, was their first line of defense. The Council of Orcs Prime met in the Central Command Building. Dr. Elena Voss, a brilliant scientist whose work with planetary minerals had earned her a reputation even among Earth's top researchers, spoke first. "We cannot allow ourselves to be cowed by threats. These aliens are unknown, yes, but we know our planet. We know its resources, its terrain. If they come with force, we can use every advantage we have." Her words carried the weight of confidence, and they ignited a spark in everyone present. Marcus nodded. "Our first step is observation. We need to know what we are up against. The Xiphorians have never encountered humans in battle. We need to understand their tactics, their weapons, and their weaknesses. We adapt quickly, and that is our greatest strength." Every probe sent by humans returned with more information, giving the colony leaders insights that no one could have predicted. The humans were learning, and the Xiphorians did not even realize it. Meanwhile, life on the surface continued with quiet determination. Children played in the silver forests, unaware of the looming threat above. Engineers worked tirelessly to strengthen the colony's infrastructure, reinforcing buildings with new alloys that could withstand energy attacks. Farmers tended to hydroponic gardens, ensuring that the colony's food supply remained abundant. Every member of the colony contributed, understanding that survival was not just the responsibility of the soldiers or the scientists. It was the duty of everyone. On the 5th day of observation, a small Xiphorian scout ship descended into the outer atmosphere. It was sleek, fast, and armed with weapons designed to incapacitate any planetary defenses quickly. Marcus dispatched a team of human pilots to intercept it, not to attack immediately, but to test their reactions and strategies. The humans maneuvered their shuttles with precision, anticipating the scouts' moves. Using a combination of electromagnetic pulses and rapid evasive maneuvers, they forced the alien ship to retreat. It was a small victory, but a crucial one. it sent a clear message that humans were not to be underestimated. Back in the command center, Dr. Voss analyzed the data collected from the encounter. She noticed something remarkable. The Xiphorians rely heavily on automated targeting systems. Their reactions are precise but predictable. If we can disrupt their sensors even briefly, we can gain a significant advantage. Marcus leaned over the console, a smile playing on his lips. Then that's exactly what we'll do. Humanity has always thrived on improvisation. Let's show them what that means. Every human in the colony contributed to the preparations, sharing knowledge and resources. Engineers designed energy shields, soldiers trained for rapid response, and scientists experimented with planetary minerals to create new defensive technologies. The Xiphorians, confident in their superiority, continued to watch, unaware that they were facing a species that did not back down, a species that thrived under pressure. Then late one night, the Xiphorians made their move. A message flashed across every screen in the colony. "Resistance will end. Prepare for your defeat." Moments later, the first attack began. Energy beams cut through the atmosphere, striking the outskirts of the colony with precision. Buildings shook, alarms blared, and the humans rushed to their stations. But they were ready. Using a combination of natural terrain, energy shields, and clever tactics, humans managed to absorb the initial impact. Marcus directed the defenders with calm authority, coordinating the response like a conductor leading an orchestra. Human shuttles swooped in to intercept, while automated turrets fired with pinpoint accuracy. Dr. Voss activated a new defense mechanism, creating a temporary energy barrier that disrupted the Xiphorian attack systems. It was an improvised solution, created in the heat of the moment, and it worked. The battle raged through the night, but the humans never wavered. Every attack met with resistance, every strike countered with ingenuity. The Xiphorians, expecting an easy victory, were surprised by the humans' ability to adapt and endure. Even small teams of engineers and civilians played a role, operating machinery, repairing damages, and providing critical support. The human spirit shone brighter than any weapon the Xiphorians could wield. By dawn, the first wave of attacks had been repelled. The colony was battered but intact. Marcus surveyed the damage, nodding with quiet pride. "They've tested us," he said, "and we've passed. But this is only the beginning. They will strike again, and we must be ready." Dr. Voss looked at him, determination in her eyes. "We will be ready, we always are." Instead, they had ignited a fire that burned with courage, intelligence, and the relentless drive to survive. Humans had always faced overwhelming odds and had risen every time. Orlaia Prime was no different. The Xiphorians had come to test them, and the humans had shown that they were not a species to be trifled with. As the colony began to rebuild, a sense of unity and purpose filled the air. Humans shared stories of their experiences during the attack, celebrating small victories and learning from mistakes. Every individual, from the youngest child to the oldest scientist, understood that their survival depended on cooperation, innovation, and the unyielding human spirit. The lesson was clear. Humans were not just survivors, they were masters of adaptation, capable of turning even the most dangerous challenges into triumphs. And somewhere in the distance, the Xiphorians watched, calculating and reconsidering. They had challenged a species they thought weak, only to find themselves facing opponents whose courage and ingenuity were unmatched. The humans of Orlaia Prime had made their stand, and the galaxy would soon learn that the human spirit was a force unlike any other. The sun rose over Orlaia Prime, casting long silver shadows across the colony. The attacks of the night before had left marks, craters in the outskirts, scorched metal, and shattered transport lines, but the humans were already at work, repairing, rebuilding, and preparing. There was no panic, no despair. Humans had always faced impossible odds and had survived. This was no different. Captain Marcus Raines walked through the central plaza, observing the workers. Soldiers moved with purpose, engineers carried parts of broken machinery, and scientists monitored energy readings from the remaining Xiphorian scanners. Every human was focused, driven by a shared determination that transcended fear. Marcus's eyes fell on Dr. Alina Voss, who stood beside a console with furrowed brows, analyzing the data from the previous night's attack. "They'll strike again," Marcus said quietly, joining her. "We've only seen the beginning. They won't give up so easily. I've been working on a way to use Orlaia Prime's magnetic fields to interfere with their energy weapons. It's risky, but it could turn the tide." Within hours, the Xiphorian fleet returned, larger and more determined than before. Hundreds of ships now dotted the skies, bristling with weapons designed to devastate the colony in minutes. They moved with military precision, their attack formations almost too perfect to challenge. Yet humans did not retreat. They were not used to retreating. The first strike came without warning. Energy beams ripped through the atmosphere, targeting the colony's defensive turrets. Marcus ordered the human shuttles into formation, weaving between blasts, their engines flaring as they dodged attacks. Soldiers stationed at the perimeter opened fire, but most of their weapons had little effect on the Xiphorian shields. Still, humans adapted. They moved quickly, using terrain, cover, and calculated maneuvers to survive. Alina activated her experimental system, a network of devices that harnessed Aurelia Prime's magnetic fields to create temporary disruptions in the Xiphorian energy beams. Sparks danced across the control panels as energy readings soared. For the first time, human defenses managed to block several of the most dangerous strikes. Xiphorian ships faltered, their precision thrown off by the unexpected interference. It was not a complete solution, but it bought the humans time, and time was everything. Meanwhile, on the ground, small human squads moved swiftly to secure vital points. Engineers ran alongside soldiers, carrying emergency repair kits to keep turrets operational. Civilians, trained for emergency scenarios, helped evacuate damaged areas, transporting supplies and assisting the wounded. Every individual played a role, proving that humanity's strength lay not just in weapons, but in unity, coordination, and courage. Marcus directed the battle from the command center. Screens lit up with real-time images of the attacking ships and human countermeasures. "We've got a small window," he said. "If we can push them into the canyon near the northern ridge, we can use the terrain to limit their maneuverability. It's risky, but it's the only chance we have." Magnetic pulse generators, triggered at precise intervals, created pockets of interference that knocked out shields and disabled weapons for critical seconds. The humans struck quickly, firing concentrated volleys at ships that were now vulnerable. A scream of alarms echoed through the Xiphorian fleet. Their precise coordination faltered under the humans' unpredictable tactics. Every time the aliens tried to adjust, humans had already adapted, exploiting their errors. Captain Rains watched the screens, feeling a mixture of pride and tension. He knew this was only the first wave. The Xiphorians would respond, and the next attack would be even more dangerous. Dr. Voss monitored the energy fluctuations, her fingers flying across the console. "Their shields are weaker than I expected," she said. "If we can focus our pulse generators and hit multiple ships simultaneously, we can force them to retreat, at least temporarily." Energy beams flared across the canyon as Xiphorian ships were caught in interference fields. Shields flickered and failed, exposing vulnerable hulls. The humans did not hesitate. With well-aimed attacks, they disabled several ships, sending them spiraling out of control. It was a moment of triumph, a small but significant victory that proved humans could face even a superior foe. But the Xiphorians were relentless. Their fleet adapted quickly, using backup systems and focusing fire on human shuttles. Several human craft were damaged or destroyed. Marcus felt the weight of responsibility. Every life mattered. Every decision could tip the balance, yet in the chaos, humans continued to demonstrate ingenuity. Pilots improvised maneuvers, engineers repaired systems mid-flight, and soldiers coordinated attacks with precision. As the battle raged, a human strike team led by Captain Rains executed a daring plan. Using a combination of high-speed shuttles and automated drones, they infiltrated the Xiphorian formation, targeting communication arrays. The goal was to isolate the ships from their command, forcing them to act independently. It was dangerous. If even one ship detected the infiltration, the team could be destroyed, but humans thrived on calculated risks. The team moved with coordination born from years of training. Drones buzzed past enemy sensors, creating false signals and distractions. The shuttles darted between enemy ships, striking critical points with precision. Within minutes, the Xiphorians' communication network faltered. Ships no longer acted as a single unit. They reacted slowly and erratically, giving humans a distinct advantage. On the ground, soldiers used the chaos to launch counterattacks. Automated turrets and energy cannons targeted ships struggling to maintain formation. Explosions lit the sky, and alien vessels began to fall one by one. Humans cheered as they witnessed the results of their combined efforts. It was not an easy victory. Many ships were lost, and the colony sustained damage, but it was proof that humans could fight back against seemingly unbeatable odds. Dr. Voss recorded every observation. "We've learned more in this one attack than we could have in years," she said. "Their reliance on technology is both their strength and their weakness. Humans can adapt, improvise, and exploit weaknesses in ways they never expect." Smoke rose from damaged buildings and burning vehicles, but the human spirit was unbroken. "We've held them off," he said quietly. "But this is just the beginning. They'll come again stronger, and next time we need to be ready for everything." Engineers repaired damaged defenses, soldiers reinforced perimeter positions, and scientists like Dr. Voss analyzed data to improve their strategies. There was no fear, only determination. Every setback was a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to grow stronger. High above the planet, the Xiphorian fleet regrouped, shaken by the humans' resilience. Their confidence had been shattered. They had underestimated a species they believed weak, only to face opponents who were inventive, adaptable, and relentless. The Xiphorians recalculated their approach, realizing that simple force would not be enough. Humanity's unpredictability and courage had changed the battlefield. Back on the colony, humans gathered briefly in the central plaza, exhausted but unbowed. Marcus addressed them, his voice calm but firm. "Today we showed the galaxy something important. We are humans. We do not surrender. We do not back down. We fight with our minds, our hands, and our hearts. Oralia Prime is ours, and we will protect it." They had faced a superior enemy and survived not through sheer power, but through ingenuity, courage, and unity. The night's battle had tested them, but it had also shown what humans could achieve when they refused to be defeated. As darkness fell across the planet, Oralia Prime shone like a beacon, a testament to human resilience. The Xiphorians, somewhere above in orbit, prepared for another strike, unaware that each attempt would only teach humans more, making them even stronger. Humans had faced the first real test of war against an advanced alien race, and had proven that courage, intelligence, and determination could overcome even the most terrifying odds. And so, on the silver surface of Oralia Prime, humans slept lightly, alert but proud. Tomorrow would bring another wave, another challenge, but they were ready. They had always been ready. For the humans of Oralia Prime, survival was not enough. They would thrive. They would adapt. And they would show the galaxy why humanity could never be underestimated. The morning sun spread across Oralia Prime, glinting off the colony's silver towers and casting long shadows over the scorched battlefields. The first wave of attacks had tested the humans' resolve, and the second had proven their ingenuity. But Captain Marcus Raines knew that the Xiphorians were not finished. Every alien intelligence in the fleet was now aware of a frightening truth. Humans were unpredictable, fast learners, and fearless in the face of overwhelming power. In the command center, Marcus and Dr. Alina Voss reviewed the data collected from the previous day's battle. The screens flickered with images of the downed Xiphorian ships, their hulls marked by human ingenuity. "They'll adapt," Marcus said. "They'll try something new, something we haven't seen before. We need to stay ahead or they'll overwhelm us. If we can separate them from their command and force them to fight individually, we can defeat them ship by ship. I think we can do that, but it will require a strike team and precise timing. Let's show them what we can do when we fight smart, together, and without fear." Even civilians contributed, carrying supplies, monitoring sensors, and assisting with repairs. Every action, no matter how small, reinforced a larger truth. Humans thrived on cooperation and ingenuity, and no alien threat could break that unity. By afternoon, the Xiphorian fleet returned, this time with more ships and heavier weaponry. Their movements were calculated, precise, and intimidating. Energy beams streaked through the sky as the aliens opened fire on the colony, testing human defenses once again. Marcus issued orders with calm authority, directing shuttles, turrets, and ground teams with practiced efficiency. "Keep them moving," he instructed. "Do not let them form a solid attack. Force them to adapt. They're strong, but they cannot predict everything we do." Every move was calculated, every tactic designed to exploit the Xiphorians' reliance on technology. Dr. Voss monitored the energy fluctuations with focused intensity. "Their shields are weaker when they fire continuously," she noted. "If we can time our attacks just right, we can break through and hit their hulls directly. We'll need precise coordination between the shuttles and ground teams." If successful, the humans could turn the tide of the battle. If they failed, the team could be lost in seconds. The shuttles lifted off, engines flaring as they raced toward the Xiphorian formation. Drones accompanied them, creating distractions and false signals to confuse the alien sensors. As they approached, energy beams lashed out, striking nearby asteroids and terrain with devastating precision. Marcus guided his team through the chaos, dodging blasts and firing at key targets with exacting skill. Alina monitored the operation from the command center. "Steady! Now, activate the pulse generators!" she shouted. On the ground, human engineers triggered the devices, sending bursts of electromagnetic energy into the alien fleet. Shields flickered, weapons failed, and chaos spread through the Xiphorian formation. The strike team seized the moment, targeting communication hubs and disabling them with surgical precision. One by one, the Xiphorian ships became isolated, forced to react without coordination. Some fired wildly at the human shuttles, others collided with each other in confusion. The humans pressed their advantage, exploiting every opening, every hesitation. For the first time, the Xiphorians realized that humans were not just fighters. They were clever, adaptable, and fearless. Meanwhile, on the ground, the humans launched their own counteroffensive. Soldiers and engineers coordinated attacks against the alien landing units, using the terrain to their advantage. They set traps along narrow passes, lured the aliens into confined areas, and used Aurelia Prime's natural hazards to slow their advance. The colony itself became a fortress, every building, street, and canyon working in harmony with human tactics. Marcus and his strike team continued their assault, moving from ship to ship, disabling weapons and creating chaos within the fleet. They encountered resistance, of course. Xiphorian soldiers were fierce and trained, but humans had something the aliens did not: adaptability and courage. Every attack was met with a counter, every challenge solved with quick thinking and improvisation. At one point, a Xiphorian vessel attempted to escape, heading toward the colony's energy cores. Marcus reacted immediately, steering a shuttle to intercept. With a combination of maneuvers and precise targeting, he forced the alien ship to retreat, saving vital infrastructure from destruction. Dr. Voss smiled at the results. "They're underestimating us at every turn," she said. "Humans do not follow the rules they expect. We think, we adapt, and we act in ways that surprise them." Every victory, no matter how small, strengthened the humans' resolve. Hours passed, and the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. The Xiphorian fleet, battered and disoriented, began to withdraw. Their pride had been wounded, their confidence shaken. For the first time in their history, they had faced a species that could not be easily conquered, a species that could turn their own strengths against them. Marcus guided his team back to the colony, exhausted but triumphant. Soldiers, engineers, and civilians alike cheered as the shuttles landed. Damage assessments began immediately, but there was little time for rest. Every human knew that the Xiphorians would return stronger and more cunning. But they also knew that they had proven something vital. Humans were not weak. They were a force to be reckoned with. In the command center, Marcus and Dr. Voss reviewed the battle's outcomes. "We've shown them that humans are unpredictable," Marcus said. "We've proven that we can adapt faster than they can plan. But we cannot become complacent. They will learn from this, and their next attack will be more dangerous." Engineers worked tirelessly to repair turrets, energy shields, and transport lines. Soldiers patrolled the perimeter, ensuring that no remaining Xiphorian forces could sneak through. Civilians contributed by carrying supplies, tending to the wounded, and monitoring sensors. The humans of Aurelia Prime were united, stronger than ever before. In orbit, the Xiphorian commanders held a council of their own. Their fleet was damaged, their formations disrupted, and their confidence shaken. They had expected an easy conquest, but humans had proven to be clever, adaptable, and fearless. The alien commanders realized that this was not a species that could be subdued through fear or technology alone. Humans were a challenge unlike any they had faced, and they would require careful planning, not arrogance, to defeat. Back on the planet, humans celebrated quietly, not with reckless joy, but with pride in their collective effort. They had survived a battle that should have destroyed them, turned the enemy's strength against them, and emerged stronger and more united. Marcus looked out over the colony, his mind already planning for the next encounter. "They will return," he said to himself. "And when they do, we will be ready. We always are." They had faced an enemy that was supposed to be unstoppable, and had proven that courage, ingenuity, and unity could overcome even the most terrifying threats. The battle had changed them, strengthened them, and shown the galaxy that humans were not a species to underestimate. Somewhere above, the Xiphorians observed, learning that every attempt to conquer humanity only strengthened it further. The humans of Aurelia Prime had survived the impossible, and in doing so had shown that their spirit was unbreakable. And so, under the twin moons of Aurelia Prime, humans rested for a few hours, dreaming not of fear but of the next challenge, the next opportunity to prove themselves, and the certainty that whatever the galaxy threw at them, they would adapt, fight, and endure. Humanity had turned the tide, and this victory was only the beginning. The humans of Aurelia Prime knew the Xiphorians would return. They had felt the alien fleet's confidence shake, seen their precision falter, and understood that the next attack would be relentless. Captain Marcus Raines gathered the council early in the morning, the golden light of the twin suns streaming through the command center's windows. Soldiers, engineers, and scientists sat around the table, each face tense but determined. "The Xiphorians have learned from their mistakes," Marcus said. "They will hit harder, faster, and with more force than before. But we have something our home planet. We know its terrain, its storms, its magnetic fields. We will use every advantage we have to defend this colony and, if possible, deliver a lesson they will never forget." Narrow passages, unstable cliffs, and natural energy surges. If we lure them here, we can force their ships to move slowly, lose formation, and be vulnerable to coordinated strikes. We can also use our pulse generators to create electromagnetic storms that will disable their shields for brief but critical moments. Engineers ran simulations on the plan while soldiers prepared for ground combat. Civilians trained for emergencies, ready to assist wherever they were needed. The colony's energy cores were fortified, turrets repositioned, and emergency shelters stocked. Every person knew that the coming battle would test them to their limits. Yet there was no fear, only a shared determination to defend their home. By mid-afternoon, the Xiphorian fleet appeared on the horizon, a dark swarm against the bright sky. Hundreds of ships moved in tight formation, weapons ready, scanning for weaknesses. Marcus stood on the observation deck, his eyes fixed on the advancing aliens. "Remember," he said, turning to the assembled strike team. "They expect fear, hesitation, or mistakes. We give them none of that. Every move is deliberate, every strike counts." Magnetic pulse generators, hidden along the canyon walls, waited for activation. Mines and energy disruptors were positioned to create chaos in tight spaces. The canyon's natural hazards, steep cliffs, sudden drops, and dense rock formations would further hinder the alien fleet. Marcus watched as the first wave of Xiphorian ships entered the canyon. "Activate the pulses," he commanded. Energy surged from the generators, creating localized storms that disrupted the alien shields. Ships faltered, shields flickering under the assault. Human shuttles attacked with precision, targeting engines and weapon systems. The aliens tried to maintain formation, but the canyon forced them into narrow paths, where their size and firepower became a disadvantage rather than a strength. On the ground, soldiers fired energy cannons and set traps along narrow passes. Explosions echoed through the canyon as alien landing units struggled to advance. Human teams moved swiftly, taking advantage of every mistake the Xiphorians made. Civilians assisted by monitoring sensors, controlling drones, and maintaining communication lines. Every human played a role, proving that unity was as deadly a weapon as any energy cannon. Dr. Voss monitored the interference fields closely. "Their shields are weakening in waves," she called out. "Time your attacks with the fluctuations, and we can take down multiple ships at once." Shuttles swooped down to disable alien engines while pulse generators created chaos in the fleet. Explosions rocked the canyon as ships collided or were forced out of formation. Xiphorian soldiers attempted to regroup, but humans had anticipated every move. Using the terrain and technology in combination, humans turned the aliens' strengths against them. Hours passed with relentless intensity. The sky was filled with streaks of light from energy beams, explosions, and shuttles darting in every direction. The humans' trap worked perfectly. Xiphorian ships, once confident and precise, became confused, vulnerable, and divided. Every human action amplified the chaos, showing the aliens that strength alone could not overcome intelligence, courage, and adaptation. Marcus and his strike team moved through the canyon with the shuttles, targeting critical communication hubs and energy cores. The plan was not just to defend, but to cripple the Xiphorian fleet's ability to coordinate. Every disabled system increased the humans' advantage, making each alien ship easier to defeat. Even when Xiphorian soldiers attempted boarding maneuvers, humans were ready. Soldiers in armored suits met them with calculated force, using environmental advantages to push them back. Engineers rigged temporary barricades and improvised weapons to keep the enemy contained. Civilians assisted in supporting roles, proving that every member of the colony was part of the defense. Dr. Voss activated a final energy surge, channeling power from Aurelia Prime's magnetic fields to disrupt the last wave of alien shields. Xiphorian ships faltered, engines sparking, weapons failing, and hulls exposed. Humans did not hesitate. Shuttles and ground-based energy weapons struck simultaneously, destroying ships and forcing others into retreat. The battle reached its climax when the Xiphorian flagship entered the canyon, attempting to rally its fleet. Marcus focused all available shuttles and ground cannons on the vessel. Pulse generators hit at the perfect moment, disabling shields, while humans targeted critical systems. The flagship shook under the concentrated assault, sparks flying from its hull. The alien commander, once confident and commanding, realized the full extent of human ingenuity. "This is not possible," a Xiphorian officer said over the communication line, frustration and disbelief in their tone. "They are weaker than us, yet they outmaneuver and destroy us with ease. How can this be?" Energy beams struck the flagship, explosions rocked the canyon, and shuttles darted in to disable key systems. The vessel, once a symbol of Xiphorian dominance, now struggled to survive. Finally, after sustained attacks, it was forced to retreat, limping away from the battlefield. With the flagship gone, the remaining Xiphorian fleet faltered. Confused, vulnerable, and leaderless, they began a full retreat. Humans did not pursue recklessly. Instead, they maintained pressure, ensuring that the enemy could not regroup quickly. The colony had survived, and the Xiphorians had suffered a devastating blow. Marcus stood on the observation deck, surveying the aftermath. Fires still burned in the canyon, energy readings fluctuated, and human teams worked tirelessly to secure the area. Despite the exhaustion, there was a sense of triumph. Humanity had not only defended their home, but had inflicted significant damage on a fleet that had once seemed invincible. Dr. Voss smiled, her eyes reflecting the golden light of the setting suns. "We've done it," she said softly. "We've proven that humans are not just survivors. We are fighters, thinkers, and a force that cannot be underestimated. We adapt, we endure, and we fight with everything we have. Aurelia Prime stands, and humans are stronger than ever." Every person contributed, their unity shining as a beacon of human strength. In orbit above the planet, Xiphorian commanders convened once more. Their fleet had suffered losses they had not anticipated. Ships were destroyed, shields disrupted, and formations broken. Their pride had been wounded, and their confidence shaken. They realized now that humans were unlike any species they had faced. Resourceful, adaptable, and fearless, humans had turned the planet itself into a weapon, and every attempt to conquer them had only made them stronger. Back on the surface, humans took stock of their achievements. The canyon trap had worked perfectly, the enemy fleet was retreating, and the colony remained secure. Marcus addressed the colony via broadcast. "Today we faced a threat that was supposed to overwhelm us. Instead, we turned the planet into our ally, our ingenuity into our weapon, and our unity into our shield. Aurelia Prime is safe, and we have proven that humanity cannot be defeated by fear, strength, or technology alone. We endure, we adapt, and we fight together. This is what it means to be human." Aurelia Prime glimmered with lights, a symbol of resilience, courage, and hope. The humans of this planet had faced the impossible, used their intelligence and courage to turn the tide, and emerged stronger than ever. The Xiphorians had learned a lesson they would never forget. Humanity was not to be trifled with. And high above, the stars shone, silent witnesses to a species that refused to bow, refused to surrender, and would continue to prove that the human spirit was a force beyond calculation, beyond prediction, and beyond defeat. The skies over Aurelia Prime were quiet, but the humans of the colony knew this calm would not last. The Xiphorians were wounded, yes, but they were not defeated. Every surviving vessel in their fleet had retreated only to regroup, repair, and return with even greater force. Captain Marcus Rain stood on the observation deck of the central command tower, watching the horizon as the twin suns began to rise. He knew the coming battle would be the greatest humanity had faced yet, and the moment to prove their strength once and for all had arrived. "Doctor." Alina Voss joined him, holding a data pad filled with updated analyses of the Xiphorian fleet. "They've rebuilt faster than we expected," she said, her voice calm but determined. "But they still underestimate us. Their ships are stronger, yes, but they don't know that we've adapted faster, we've learned their tactics, and we've discovered ways to turn the planet itself into a weapon. We can win this, Marcus. We must win this." Engineers worked tirelessly, ensuring that all systems functioned at maximum efficiency. Soldiers drilled for rapid deployment, moving through simulations that covered every possible scenario. Civilians were briefed on emergency protocols, ready to assist with supplies, medical aid, and communications. Aurelia Prime was a fortress, a living embodiment of human ingenuity and unity. As the Xiphorian fleet approached once more, the humans could see their strategy taking shape. The alien ships were larger this time, moving in coordinated waves, with capital ships leading the assault and support vessels covering every angle. Energy beams streaked across the sky as the aliens began their first strikes, testing human defenses. Marcus issued orders calmly, his voice carrying authority and assurance. "Shuttles lead them toward the northern canyon trap. Turrets maintain focus and be ready to adjust fire. Ground teams stay mobile. We control the battlefield, not them. Remember, they cannot predict every move we make." Shuttles darted through the skies, drawing the Xiphorians into the canyon. Pulse generators along the walls activated at critical points, sending bursts of energy that disrupted alien shields and communications. The terrain, carefully studied and used to its fullest, forced Xiphorian ships into narrow passages where their size and firepower became liabilities. On the ground, soldiers engaged landing units, using improvised weapons and traps to contain them. Engineers rigged energy cannons to focus fire on key targets, while civilians assisted with repairs and logistics. Every human, no matter their role, contributed to the defense. This was not a battle fought by a single group. It was a collective effort that showcased the true strength of humanity: unity, adaptability, and courage. The strike team, led by Marcus himself, moved through the canyon with shuttles targeting critical alien systems. Each move was coordinated with precision, every pulse and attack timed perfectly. Xiphorian ships faltered under the assault, their formation breaking as communication networks failed. The humans pressed their advantage, striking ships individually, exploiting weaknesses discovered through careful observation and quick thinking. Dr. Voss monitored the energy fields from the command center. "Now," she said, her fingers flying over the console, "focus all pulses on the flagship. Target its shields and engines simultaneously." The Xiphorian commander, once confident and unwavering, realized too late that humans had mastered the battlefield, using the planet itself as a weapon. "Captain, their flagship is exposed," a human pilot called over the comms. "We can disable it completely." Explosions rocked the alien vessel, and energy beams ignited sections of its hull. For the first time, the Xiphorians faced the possibility of losing not just the battle, but their command structure entirely. On the ground, human forces surged forward. Soldiers moved with confidence, using the canyon's terrain to outmaneuver Xiphorian units. Engineers reinforced barricades and activated secondary pulse generators, adding further confusion to the alien ranks. Civilians helped evacuate damaged areas, ensuring that human losses remained minimal while maintaining the colony's efficiency. Every action reinforced the humans' overwhelming advantage. Intelligence, unity, and courage combined against sheer brute force. Hours passed in relentless intensity. The Xiphorian fleet tried to adapt, but every new tactic was anticipated and countered. Every move the aliens made had been studied, predicted, or improvised around by humans. The battlefield became a demonstration of human ingenuity, turning what should have been a hopeless fight into a decisive victory. Finally, the Xiphorian flagship, critically damaged and unable to maintain formation, retreated. The remaining alien ships followed, disorganized and leaderless. The humans did not pursue recklessly. Instead, they maintained a defensive perimeter, ensuring that the retreat would be permanent. The battle was over. Aurelia Prime was safe. The humans had not only survived, they had won decisively. Marcus exhaled deeply, the tension of the past days finally lifting. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with quiet pride. "They came to conquer, to test us, and they failed. Humanity has won. Today, we have proven that courage, intelligence, and unity are stronger than even the most advanced technology." Fires were lit in central squares, songs of triumph echoed across the plaza, and human voices rang out in unison, a testament to the spirit that had carried them through the impossible. Yet even in victory, there was reflection. Marcus addressed the colony over the central broadcast. This battle has shown us what humans are capable of when we stand together, when we think, act, and adapt. But let us not forget that the galaxy is vast and there will always be challenges. Today we celebrate. Tomorrow we prepare, not because we fear, but because we are wise and humanity thrives on readiness and resilience. They had encountered a species unlike any they had ever faced. Humans who could adapt faster than technology, fight harder than brute strength, and unite in ways that made the impossible possible. The lesson was clear, and it would spread across the galaxy. Never underestimate humanity. Back on the planet, humans began the work of rebuilding and strengthening their defenses, not out of fear, but out of pride and foresight. Every building repaired, every turret realigned, and every energy system fortified was a symbol of human perseverance. The battle had been won, but the humans understood that vigilance was part of their nature. They had survived and they had thrived because they never relied on luck alone. They relied on each other, their intellect, and their unwavering courage. As night fell, Aurelia Prime glimmered with thousands of lights, a beacon of human determination shining across the silver forests and blue oceans. Families gathered, soldiers patrolled, and scientists monitored the planet's systems. The humans of this world had faced the most advanced alien race in the sector and had emerged victorious. Their ingenuity, courage, and unity had turned the planet itself into a weapon, and their resilience had shattered an enemy that had never known defeat. Marcus stood once more on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. "We have shown them what humanity can do," he said softly. "And we will continue to show the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. We fight with intelligence, with courage, and with unity. We endure, we adapt, we win. And we will always be determined." Humanity had not only won a battle, they had sent a message that would echo across the stars. And so, on Aurelia Prime, humans rested under the twin moons, proud but vigilant. They had faced the impossible, turned adversity into triumph, and carved their mark into the galaxy. The humans of this planet were more than survivors. They were innovators, fighters, and a force that no one could ignore. The legacy of Aurelia Prime would endure, a shining example of what it meant to be human, courageous, intelligent, and unstoppable. The stars above shone in silence, witnesses to a species that had defied expectations, conquered fear, and emerged stronger. The Xiphorians had dared to challenge humans, and they had paid the price. The humans of Aurelia Prime had won, and the galaxy would remember it for generations.